Share screen. Okay, all right. 1, 2, 3. Can you see it now? Yeah?
Yes,
Canto
yes,
1,
Mataji.
yes. I'm trying to, where is the slideshow? Yeah, yes, I think this is better. Okay. Ready? Seatbelts? Ready to go? Let's do it in 5 minutes. Srimad Bhagavatam, first, second, and third canto. So, first chapter, sorry, Srimad Bhagavatam, no seatbelts. Let's just relax. First canto, first, second, and third chapter. So, first chapter, question by sages. Second one, divinity in divine service. Third chapter is Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Those are the headings of the chapters. Okay. Summary of the first chapter. 3 verses explaining who is Bhagavan, what is Bhagavatam, and welcome to the Bhakti Rasa given by Bhagavatam. 3 verses. Then qualification of a speaker, the qualities of a Kali Yuga Jiva, effect of the holy name, and sadhu. And then comes the 6 questions. What is the ultimate good for humanity and essence of all scriptures? The answer for that is Bhakti Yoga, devotional service. And the other 2 questions, why did Lord appear? That is to reclaim the souls that are in sattva, to reclaim the saintly people. Next question, what are Purushavataras? That is Karanodaka Sai Vishnu, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, and Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu. What are Leelavataras? Ananta. They are like ripples in the ocean. But Bhagavatam has described 22 Leelavataras. Where did Dharma take shelter of the Lord disappeared? In Srimad Bhagavatam. But these are the questions that are asked by the sages of Naimisharanya in the first chapter. The answers are given in the second and third chapters. As we just discussed, the answers for the first 2 questions are Bhakti Yoga. So in the second chapter, everything about Bhakti is detailed. What is the definition of Bhakti? What are the byproducts of Bhakti? And how can Varnashrama Dharma help in developing Bhakti? What are the stages in Bhakti? And who is the ultimate goal of Bhakti? Vasudeva. All these are described in the second chapter, Bhakti in detail. Yeah? And then the other questions are answered. Who are Purushavataras? And then this is all about details of the Bhakti that we have discussed, very much in detail, about the benefits of Bhakti, the Shubhada and Kleshagni, all the auspiciousness of Bhakti, what happens in the Anishtita Bhakti, and what happens to us as we progress to Nishtha Bhakti. What are the qualities of Nishtha Bhakti? What are anarthas? When do they disappear? Different kind of anarthas. The different steps in Bhakti or stages in Bhakti, from Shraddha till Prema. Yeah, those are the details of Bhakti. All that is covered in the second chapter. In the third chapter, the rest of the questions are answered. Why did Lord Krishna appear on the earth? To reclaim the saintly people. Purushavataras, we just described Karanodaka Sai Vishnu, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, and Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu. Karanodaka Sai Vishnu is the Paramatma of the whole material creation, from whom all the universes come out. Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is the Paramatma of each individual Brahmanda, right? And then Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu is the Paramatma that is present in all the living entities. These are the 3 Purushavataras. And then Leelavataras, infinite, as just discussed, but 22 mentioned. And what is the shelter for religion after Krishna's disappearance? Krishna is Svadamopagate, Dharma Jnanadi Bisaha, Alavdrishta, Nasham Esha, Puranarko Dimodita. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam is appearing as sun as Lord Krishna disappeared to his abode along with Dharma. The shelter for Kali Yuga people, the light for Kali Yuga people, the guidance for Kali Yuga people is Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are the questions and answers, the 6 famous questions of Bhagavatam and the 6 glorious answers, all of them present in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd chapter. Now moving on to the 4th chapter. So now that Shaunaka Muni, on behalf of all the sages of Naimisharanya, asks the 6 set of questions. Now his questions are about Bhagavatam. Oh, this is the last slide, just giving you the whole summary of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd chapters of Bhagavatam. Yeah. So this is the PowerPoint. I'm going to release it. I'll post it in Sharanagati, so you may access it. That's about the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd chapters. Okay. Any questions before we go to the 4th chapter? So those are the 6 questions that were answered in first 3 chapters. And then now Shaunaka Rishi, he asks questions about Srimad Bhagavatam, the history of Srimad Bhagavatam. And when you say about the history of Srimad Bhagavatam, then he will have to talk Suta Goswami. So he has to say something about Vyasadeva, because who wrote Srimad Bhagavatam? That's Vyasadeva. Who asked him to write Srimad Bhagavatam? That's Narada Muni. Who recited Srimad Bhagavatam? That's Sukadeva Goswami. Who heard Srimad Bhagavatam? That's Parikshit Maharaj. So rest of the chapters in the 1st canto, starting from the 4th chapter till the 19th chapter, is about these personalities. Yeah. So we can actually go to the slide of how this flow goes. There are so many in here, the screens. Escape. Yes. And then, yes. Can you see this now? History of Srimad Bhagavatam. Are you able to see it?
No, Mataji.
No? No. Let me share that screen.
But we can see your beautiful face, Mataji.
Prabhu, thank you. Thank you for the encouragement. I mean that at the end of the day. But the Bhagavatam, you see, the whatever comes now is because of Bhagavatam, Prabhu. So now you can see history of Srimad Bhagavatam. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so this is Srimad Bhagavatam. So, yeah, as we just discussed, Shaunaka Rishi is now asking the questions. Can you please say something about this Srimad Bhagavatam? Yeah, and when he asks those questions, this is the flow of the rest of the canto, the 1st chapter. After I show you this flow, then I'll go for the slides, individual slides. So look at this. The 4th chapter consists of the accomplishments of Vyasadeva, his activities and accomplishments. And then at the very end of the chapter, he gets into this dilemma of why he is not satisfied even after he has accomplished, all this, compiled the Veda, divided one Veda into 4 Vedas, wrote Vedanta Sutras, and then Itihasas and Puranas. He has done everything, but still he's puzzled why he is not satisfied yet. And then comes Narada Muni. So all that is in the 4th chapter. So 4th chapter is about the activities of Vyasadeva and his dissatisfaction. And when Narada enters in the 4th chapter, the 5th chapter begins with Narada and Vyasadeva conversation. That is Sri Narada Vyasa Samvada, very famous. There's a lot in that chapter, very relevant to us also. because in this chapter, Narada Muni explains Vyasadeva what did not go well when he compiled, and how he can do better now by glorifying Krishna. So after describing that, he also gives how bhakti is glorious and tells a little bit about his life, how the bhakti given by the Bhakti Vedanta sages has influenced his life, and how that bhakti perfected his life, and how he achieved a spiritual body. All that is given there in the 5th chapter. And 5th and 6th chapter. Yeah. And after giving his full history and how bhakti has influenced Narada Muni, then he departs. After that, Srila Vyasadeva, in the 7th chapter, in the beginning of the 7th chapter, he goes into meditation by the Saraswati river in the Badrikashrama. And in the meditation, he clearly sees Bhagavan, Jiva, and Maya. How Jiva is the part and parcel of Bhagavan, but is put into troubles, into illusion by Maya Shakti, and how devotional energy is the solution for this trouble and illusion that Jiva has. This part Vyasadeva sees in his trance. And after that, he writes Srimad Bhagavatam. So whatever Bhagavata Purana was there before, that is, some modifications are made after his vision in the trance. And now Srimad Bhagavatam Avirbhavam takes place. That is in the 7th chapter. After he writes Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva recites that, teaches that to Sukadeva Goswami. That part is up until the half of the 7th chapter. And from the rest of the half, then Drona's son, who is that? Brahmastra, Ashwadhama. The story of Ashwadhama begins from the second half of the 7th chapter. Okay. And let me see if I have the flow for the rest of the. Yes, good. So, so that part is part B. If you have just noticed this, this is part B. This is history of Srimad Bhagavatam. We have just finished part A, which is 6 questions of the Naimisharanya sages and the answers. Part B is about history of the Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein Vyasadeva's activities are covered and Narada Vyasadeva Samvada, conversation, is covered. And the meditation of Vyasadeva and what he sees in his meditation is covered in the first half of the 7th chapter. And later on, the opening scene of the Mahabharata place, the Kurukshetra place, where Ashwadhama is releasing Brahmastra, is detailed in the second half of the 7th chapter. And the flow continues. After, this is all linked. When the Ashwadhama is releasing Brahmastra, and Arjuna also had to release, and then Uttara, who is the mother of Parikshit, comes running to Lord Krishna, and then asks Lord Krishna to save Parikshit that is present in the Om, and then Lord Krishna shields Parikshit Maharaj, and then Kunti Devi offers the prayers. Yeah, so all that happens. That flow is there. But here, because the question is about Parikshit Maharaj, the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, activities of Parikshit Maharaj, and how he's cursed by the Brahmana. After the curse of Parikshit Maharaj, entry of Sukadeva Goswami into the Hastinapura, all that is described from the second half of the 7th chapter until the rest of the Canto, 19th chapter. Okay. So that is about the first canto. Yeah. If you notice here, Queen Kunti prayers, they're all covered here when describing the birth of the Parikshit Maharaj. The Bhishma Deva's prayers, Kunti prayers, Queen Kunti prayers, Bhishma Deva prayers, Lord departing to Dwaraka, and then Parikshit Maharaj is born, and Yudhishthir Maharaj throws a big ceremony, and then Dhritarashtra goes to the forest, Pandavas also retire, Parikshit takes over the rule, and Kali enters Parikshit's kingdom, and then Parikshit is cursed by the Brahmana, and then Sukadeva Goswami comes. All this dense subject matter is present in part C. So that's the flow of the whole canto, the first canto. Good. Now we will focus on part B, which is history of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. So I'm going to change the screen again. I will take you to Naimisharanya now. Let me find the way, and then I'll take you there. It's on my desktop, by the way, Naimisharanya. Canto 1.4. Okay. Let me share that new screen to you. Okay. Are you able to see that? Appearance of Sri Narada?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, good. So the journey is quick to Naimisharanya. We have appearance of Sri Narada. That's 1.4. So now, as I just explained, after Shaunaka Rishi asks those 6 set of questions, now the rest of the questions are starting about how did this Srimad Bhagavatam come, and how did Vyasadeva end up writing this Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's see what those set of questions are. This 1.4, the 4th chapter is about Shaunaka Rishi's questions and Vyasadeva's activities and Narada Muni's arrival. Okay, let's go ahead and see. So these are the questions. Shaunaka Rishi, here he's standing and he's asking Sutta Goswami about these questions. When, where, why, and by whose inspiration did Vyasa compile Bhagavatam? Such one sentence question hai, but lekin all the subsections are embedded there. When, where, why. So everything about Bhagavatam. And how did, these are the questions about Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Yeah. And now, after those questions about Bhagavatam and different personalities involved with Bhagavatam, now the answers, they start. Okay. This is about the birth, activities, and renunciation. This is about Parikshit Maharaj. So those were the set of questions, and now about the activities of Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva, Dvaipayana, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, our Vyasa of this Kali, of this Divya Yuga is Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. And he compiled Veda. There was single Veda, one Veda that came out from the mouth of Brahma in his meditation when he was hearing the Gayatri mantra that is coming from Lord Krishna. So that single Veda is received by Vyasadeva and is compiled into 4 Vedas. And why is he doing that? Until then, it was all oral reception only. There was no pen and paper. There's no Tatipatra. They could just hear Ekasandhyagrahi and they could just remember and they could just pass on to the rest of the generations. But Vyasadeva, he could see, he could foresee the future. He could see that all these Kali Yuga people are just, vestigial. They don't have the capacity to even understand what is being said, what to speak of memory. So for our sake, he has taken the subject matter of Vedas and divided it into 4. And not only that, after he divided those into 4 Vedas, he gave that summary of the Vedas into Vedanta Sutra. Yeah. So if you remember, each Veda has four sections. That is Samhitas, Brahmanakas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads. Each Veda has these 4 sections. So all these 4 Vedas, they are concised into one-liners. Yeah, 555 one-liners. All the 4 Vedas are summarized, concised into 555 one-liners. These 555 one-liners are called Vedanta Sutras. It's a book containing 555 one-liners. All these 555 are categorized into 4 chapters. Yeah. And first chapter talks about metaphysical science of the absolute truth. We have discussed all this, but I'm repeating it again for reinforcement. So first chapter talks about metaphysical science of absolute truth. Second chapter talks about how to understand this absolute truth, this science, metaphysical science. Third chapter talks about, okay, understanding part is there, but how to practically realize the truth. And fourth chapter talks about why should we do this at all? Why to understand and realize this absolute truth? These are the 4 subject matters that Vedanta Sutra deals with. So technical, hai na? But if we just convert into small, in a language that we can understand, then let's come to Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Gaudiya Vaishnavas look at these 4 chapters like this. First one is about Krishna and Jiva. Metaphysical science of the absolute truth. Bottom it down. Common language is about Krishna, Bhagavat Shakti, and Jiva Shakti. Right? And second chapter and third chapter. Oh, the first chapter is about Krishna and Jiva. That is Sambandha Jnana. Who am I and where did I come from? That is Sambandha Jnana. Second and third chapter is about Abhideya. Abhideya means the process. How do I realize that Sambandha? If I am connected with Lord Krishna, how can I revive that connection? It's by process of bhakti. And that is called Abhideya. The process that we use to revive our relationship is called Abhideya. So second and third chapters of Vedanta Sutra talk about Abhideya. And why should I revive my divine relationship with Bhagavan? So I can experience Preeti. So I can experience Preeti, love of Godhead. To realize that, to experience that, for that purpose, I want to revive that divine relationship with Bhagavan. That's Prayojana. That's the 4th chapter. So Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they understand these Brahma Sutras or Vedanta Sutras, these 4 chapters like this. Sambandha, first chapter, second and third chapters is Abhideya, and 4th chapter is Prayojana. Yeah. So Vyasadeva, he has given this summary as Vedanta Sutra, and whatever leftovers are present after dividing that one Veda into 4, after compiling that Vedas into 4, that miscellaneous stuff is transferred to Puranas and Itihasas. And that's why they are called 5th Veda. So he has done all this. He did not miss a bit. And if you see, there are so many qualities of Vyasadeva. I don't know if the sloka is here, but yeah, the summary is here. Vyasadeva was following his vows very strictly. He was worshipping the Vedas, he was worshipping the altar, sacrifice, worshipping Guru. He said worshipping Guru. Then I was thinking, who would be the Guru of Vyasadeva? He's the son of Satyavati, literary incarnation. So I couldn't think much, but he had all these qualities. And still he is not satisfied. He is such a scholarly one. He has compiled Vedas. He did all the tapasya, austerities, and he was worshipping the altar, the yajna sacrifice. So you name it, there are everything that a person should have to feel satisfied and accomplished. But still, he was feeling incomplete. And he was thinking, ye kya ho raha hai? I did everything. Whatever came out from the mouth of Brahma, I've compiled it into 4 Vedas. And the miscellaneous, I put it in the 5th Veda, which is Itihasas and Puranas. I did and for the sake of the Kali Yuga people, I did the summary, concised it into Vedanta Sutras also. I did everything. Why is it that I'm not feeling happy? Why is it I'm feeling morose? And Srimad Bhagavatam actually describes, the description is very close to getting depressed. Can you imagine Vyasadeva getting depressed? We think depression is a quality of only Kali Yuga Jivas. But Vyasadeva, Srila Vyasadeva, why was he bothered so much? Why was he disturbed so much? After such great accomplishment, he could foresee the future. He could do such wonderful austerities. And obviously, he's a great scholar. But still, something was deeply bothering him. He could not understand that. So he was just pondering. And then as he was thinking, suddenly it kind of occurred to him. He was like, is it because I did not really highlight bhakti? I brought so much emphasis on dharma, artha, kama, moksha. All the Vedas are filled with this. After getting beaten up with all this dharma, artha, kama, when you come to the Upanishads, then Upanishads speak something about moksha, liberation. So all these 4 subject matters are thoroughly dealt in Vedas. And when I come to this 5th Veda, which is Puranas and Mahabharata, Itihasas, and in Itihasas, Surya Vamsa Itihasa. Itihasa is a complete description of a dynasty. Surya Vamsa, Sun dynasty, is Ramayana description. The Itihasa of Surya Vamsa is Ramayana. And Itihasa of Chandra Vamsa is Mahabharata. So in that, there also I have described everything. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Yeah? Through the teachings of Bhishma Deva, I have thoroughly discussed all the religion and even the liberation also. But maybe I have missed emphasizing on bhakti. Is that the reason I feel like this? So he just starts feeling like that. Just starts realizing like that. He's unsure if that is the reason that is perturbing him so much, but it just occurs to him if that would be the reason. Just then, Narayana, Narayana, Narada appears there. No? Here you go, Narada. And Vyasadeva stands and offers his pranams. That's how it ends the 4th chapter. The application for us here is Vyasadeva, what does he not have? Yeah? The scholarliness, the austerity, the wisdom, and the tapas shakti, the siddhis. He could foresee the future. So all the qualities, just opposite to a Kali Yuga Jiva. So he is such an elevated personality. Even he was feeling dissatisfied. Why was that? Because he did not glorify bhakti enough. And if we look around, Albert Einstein, the topmost, equal to MC square, whose IQ is the most that we have heard of, those scholarly people, and what to speak of the tapasya of Kali Yuga Jiva? There's no tapasya. We can't even sit long. At the most, if somebody goes to Himalayas also, the best of the tapasvis can be seen in Himalayas if they were continuing from Dwapara Yuga. So even with those austerities, the best of austerities and the scholarliness. And what else do we have in Kali Yuga? Not much. Not much of opulence, not much of, like the Parikshit Maharaj, whatever qualities he has. None of those things are present in Kali Yuga Jivas anyway. So where are we in comparison with Vyasadeva? No comparison. So if Vyasadeva was feeling like that, dissatisfied, and please note, almost depressed. If we read the shlokas in Bhagavatam, it shows how disturbed he was. He was disturbed because he did not glorify bhakti. It means he was putting so much emphasis on dharma, artha, kama, moksha until liberation only. But there was no emphasis on reviving the relationship with Bhagavan. So how can a jiva be happy if the jiva is not reconnected with his jubilant source, Bhagavan, who is Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha? So if that subject matter of reviving the relationship of the jiva with Sachidananda Vigraha is not brought into highlight and not described enough, then the people would not show that much emphasis on bhakti and they would not practice bhakti too. So how much disturbed and how much morose will all these people be if they don't emphasize bhakti and if they don't practice bhakti? So accumulation of all that, repercussions of all that was being experienced by Vyasadeva. So that is the importance of bhakti. No matter what we have in our life, so much of our time, every day, spent, if we just think about it, we spent mostly on kya karna hai, earning, hai na? Financial security. Bhago. Yeah, most of the time just goes in there. But if only we can spend enough time, adequate time on a regular basis to do our japa and to hear Krishna Kada, to realize who we actually are, so we can get reconnected to Bhagavan, then only we will be satisfied. Until then, the moroseness will be there. We may just cover it with the TV shows and with the cracking jokes or whatever entertainment is available around. We may try to cover it up, but it's like giving anesthesia. Pain is there. We are just giving anesthesia. That's it. But we have to come out of that pain. And the way to come out of that pain is to revive our blissful relationship with Sachidananda Vigraha, Bhagavan, through the process of Bhakti Yoga. Every day. And that's why we do sadhana, to revive that by calling out to the Lord in Harinam and by coming out of the amnesia. Amnesia means memory loss. We are actually jivas. We are the spirit souls, but we have total memory loss about it. And we think and behave in a way that we are this body, we are this mind. In the sense, we get caught up so much on what this body needs and what this mind wants. And not so much of attention is paid on what the soul needs, and not so much of time is spent on what the soul needs. So that's the take-home point for us from Vyasadeva. If Vyasadeva is feeling so morose, there is no wonder why we don't feel deeply satisfied and connected if we don't practice bhakti on a daily basis. Yeah, that's first take-home thing. See, Vyasadeva is sitting there looking at, and he's thinking, what is happening with me? Hum log bhi, this is the time for us to sit, introspect for a minute. Okay, am I giving enough priority to my bhakti on a daily basis? Am I giving enough thought to it, enough time for it, enough effort for it? If Vyasadeva is thinking, who are we? It's time for us on a daily basis, enough thought for it, enough time for it, enough effort for it. And all that is possible very well by associating with sincere and serious devotees. We automatically get all these three things. And that's why regular satsang, satovrutti, is very important for us. Otherwise, very valuable time is just gets wasted. Time flies. Time flies. Yeah. So anyway, that's the take-home point Vyasadeva is giving us. And the second one comes here. See, Vyasadeva, he was just, reflecting, and he was just thinking, would this be the reason that is making me sad, that I did not glorify bhakti? Would that be the reason? But he did not get the confirmation. So for us also, when we are practicing bhakti, or when we have a little puzzling situation, when we do some introspection and when we do some searching, then we may find like, oh, okay, this is where I need to tweak a little better. This is where I need to do a little better. And so we may be able to come to our own conclusion. But that needs to be confirmed by our Gurujana. Because we will be seeing our problem from our own platform. Yes, we may be right, but it will be confirmed if somebody is saying that we are right. If somebody from above, if somebody is viewing from above and confirming us that our introspection and conclusion is right, then that confirmation happens. So that's the second take-home point for us, especially in the journey of bhakti. We may be doing our best in bhakti, but with the guidance from the superiors, we will receive confirmation, and the bhakti boat will sail smooth when there is confirmation from the superiors. Okay. We will pause here. And next week we will go to the 5th chapter, wherein Srila Narada Muni starts speaking to Vyasadeva, how he confirms what mistake he has done in the past and how he can rectify in the future. And also how Vyasadeva feels after this confirmation from his spiritual master, and how he will happily sit for the meditation. All that will come up in the 5th and 6th chapter, but we'll pause here. I'm going to stop sharing the screen quickly. Those points that we have discussed is we have summarized the first, second, and third chapters. And Shaunaka brought us to the fourth chapter with his questions pertaining to Srimad Bhagavatam. And when it comes to Srimad Bhagavatam, the first personality is who wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. That's Vyasadeva. So the fourth chapter is about the activities of Vyasadeva and how special is Vyasadeva, but yet he was depressed. And how he started reflecting and how his doubt was confirmed, cleared and confirmed by his spiritual master, Narada. Well, thoughts. And the ball is in your court. All of you, please, your reflections, your take-home points, so I can hear.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hari, Hari.
One clarification, Mataji.
Yes,
So, Vedas were revealed to Lord Brahma through Kama Gayatri by Lord Krishna, and Srila Vyasadeva compiled those Vedas. He did not did any addition or written anything, right?
Yeah.
And those Vedas are they have 4 parts as Samhitas, Aranikas, Brahmanikas, and Upanishad. So they all are directly from the Lord's, they're direct Lord's instructions, information. But when it comes to Srimad Bhagavatam, that is written by Srila Vyasadeva. Is that correct understanding, Mataji?
We will learn more in the 7th chapter. Srimad Bhagavatam is, it can be said as purification of Bhagavata Purana that was already present. So, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he states in his commentary, there is no difference between Bhagavata Purana and Srimad Bhagavatam. So there is no gross difference, but the purification has happened. The emphasis on bhakti was brought in Srimad Bhagavatam. An emphasis on rasa and detailed information about the rasa is given in Bhagavatam. So there's no change, but purification was done. That's Srimad Bhagavatam. After the meditation, after what Srila Vyasadeva saw in his meditation, and after the instruction from his spiritual master, the result is purification of Bhagavad Purana, which is Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay, one more question, Mataji. So, once he compiled the Vedas, he wrote Vedanta Sutra on it, right? And so the Puranas is also a compilation of the
Puranas and Itihasas, they are the miscellaneous bits and pieces present in Vedas. So he did not write. Puranas are nothing but compilation of different histories of different kings. He did not write that has happened, and he just put it together. Itihasas is the same thing about the dynasty. So he did not do anything there.
Puranas are about different gods also, right? Shiva Purana.
Yes. Gods and their devotees who are kings.
Yeah. And so Mataji, one more thing. So that means Bhagavad Puran is also the information is from Lord itself.
Yes.
Right? So that means in Srimad Bhagavatam, as you said, that main information is coming directly from the Lord.
Right. The template did not change. The template is the same.
The same, right?
Yeah.
So, but he after his meditation, he added that, as you said,
brought the emphasis on bhakti. In Bhagavata Purana, the emphasis was on Dharmartha Kama Moksha, as any other Purana is. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, the 3rd sloka, Muhura Hora Sikha Bhuvi Bhavukaha. So he drew the attention. He said this Bhagavatam is about rasa, bhakti rasa. So he pinned down that. He nailed down that. Srimad Bhagavatam is about bhakti rasa. Bhakti is the topmost one.
Okay. Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And that's why in Bhagavata Purana, you will not see Narada Vyasa Samvada in the template.
Okay.
See, here, as a result of Narada Vyasa Samvada, Srimad Bhagavatam came out.
Mm-hmm.
The template did not change. None of the pastimes of the Lord did not change.
Mm-hmm.
The 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam did not change. Nothing changed, right? But the finer aspects of it are added as a part of the purification, drawing the emphasis on.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Mataji, one
Yes.
takeaway point while hearing was at the end, it's like he was also not satisfied till bhakti is done. So I'm sure we will never get satisfied till we do bhakti, so I'm assuming, as we are in this Kali Yuga, so I think even more we'll need to do bhakti to be satisfied and be connected.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. And what to speak of the Kali Yuga Jivas, the 4 Kumaras, they are Brahmavadis. They're not even in the material realm. They're in the spiritual realm, Brahmavadis. They knew that the Lord has a form, but they thought in the effulgence of the form is so much of happiness. We are good here. That's what they thought. I'm good in this Brahma Jyoti. That's why they're called Brahmavadis. That's what the 4 Kumaras thought. Until they made a visit to Vaikuntha and happened to smell the Tulsi Devi that was serving the lotus feet of the Lord. In other words, until they got the association of a pure devotee, they did not know what they were missing. And Bhagavatam describes so beautifully, that's in the 3rd canto, that these 4 Kumaras, when that's a beautiful sloka too. When the aroma carrying the fragrance of Tulsi Devi touched the nostrils of the Kumaras, they felt that something was happening to them. They didn't know what was happening to them. And it was so reviving. And that's when they realized, oh, we were sitting there in the Brahma Jyoti, thinking that was the best, but we didn't realize that there is so much asvadana in this bhakti. So that's what they realized. Even the Brahmavadis, they realized how the bhakti rasa is so is nectarian by the association of a pure devotee. So what to speak of Kali Yuga Jivas? Yes, Prabhu. And that's why Bhagavatam is saying, invitation, Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha. Come drink this nectar, the rasa, the bhakti rasa. Your life is meant for this. Muhuraho Rasika. Drink this always. Bhakti rasa. Always. Like Kirtaniya Sadahari. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Always savor it. Bhakti is like that. Yes. We try to savor that 2 hours in japa early in the morning as a jump start. If we get a little droplet of it, then the savoring, that would continue, spill over to the rest of the day. We will get there, but that's the whole agenda behind, the japa and Krishna Katha. So when we relish these drops during japa and Krishna Katha, say, let's just nicely, very wishfully assume that we are relishing bhakti rasa 2 hours a day in the morning. After that, because you're relishing and the cup is full, it's going to overflow. And when you are hearing Krishna Katha, say here and there, bits and pieces, in total, whatever, 1 or 2 hours, and 4 hours of your day is with bhakti rasa, relished. That is good enough to start with. But as we go on with our sadhana, that 4 hours will overflow. And this is not our assumption. The acharyas have set up like that. And that is what's supposed to happen, and that will happen. That's the Srila Prabhupada's template for us. So if we know what is the game plan behind it, then we will look for it. We will not stop it just during the japa, just during Krishna Katha. In between also, it will go on. Yeah, Prabhu, I don't know what you said, where I took the whole topic to, but Muhura Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari. The rest of the scholars, they are contemplating. अगर आपको भी कुछ है तो a word or two that you want to keep in your mind, put it in the back of the mind. Please go ahead, feel free.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hari Hari, Niti Mataji.
Yes, thank you Mataji. It was very wonderful to get back to Bhagavatam
Yes.
after a break. Yes.
Yes.
And I just wanted to, I did not know that Vyasadev was actually contemplating like why he was not feeling satisfied. I mean, I knew that he was morose, but he was actually contemplating and trying to analyze like what exactly is not making him satisfied. That was something new that he was analyzing that. And I also like that point, Mataji, that like how you linked up, as Nitin Prabhu was saying, like when Vyasadev is feeling morose, we have all the reasons to feel morose.
Mm-hmm.
And the other connection that you made was, like how when we have doubts, how somebody viewing from above can confirm. And this is where we have this tells us the importance of Guru, like how Guru can help us. So these were two very important points, Mataji. Thank you so much for connecting Vyasadev's whole thing, like how Vyasadev is thinking and how you connected those. So thank you for that, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. When we actually receive the confirmation from Guru Mataji, I think there's a description in Bhagavatam how Vyasadeva felt complete and relieved. We can actually experience that too. When we receive the confirmation and direction from our Guru, it's like you are energized, you get new strength, and you are clear about where you are going, and you almost see it happening. That's wonderful. That's really a magic. When we receive that from Guru, we actually see that happening. It's just a matter of time. That would not happen otherwise. On our own efforts, that would not happen. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. And by the way, I don't know if Nitin Prabhu is here. We know only Nitai Gudamani Prabhu.
Sorry, Mataji. Nitai Gudamani Prabhu.
It's okay, Mataji. It's just an opportunity to think of Nitai and the wonderful qualities of Nitai Gudamani Prabhu. That's okay, Mataji. Just kidding. Anything else? Anybody?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you for beautiful summary, Mataji. Thank you. It really helpful.
Praveen Prabhu. Which
Mataji.
part helped you, Prabhu?
Mataji, actually Sunday there is a session going on, so it was back and forth for me. So I'm trying to contemplate like I'm having two versions.
Which part of the Bhagavatam? You're getting the double dose.
I'm more inclined for Kunti Devi prayers,
The
Mataji.
prayers.
So
Okay.
yeah, that was I think when we get there, I think
that's going to come
can,
soon.
Yeah.
Yes, that's going to come soon. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Yeah. So rest of you, if you have nothing, then we could end here, and it's okay if it's not 9:30.
I like the, is it my voice is audible?
Yes. Hema Mataji, yes, we can hear you. Please.
I'm learning new with everything from you. I haven't read anything in the centers but it's really nice way you are explaining, make it even more easier for us to understand. I like that you say that adequate time spent for time to japa and to connect with and Krishna Katha, so we can reconnect with the Krishna, so we can come out from amnesia. Just you use the word, which is very nice. You explained it like, so we think as well, associating with devotees. So now we all don't think like we're a body, but somewhere something still comes out. So that's good that spend enough time to for japa and come to that stage that we can do better japa.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
And the rest of other points are highlighted was good too. Yes.
What's the last one, Mataji?
And everybody else added that was also
Right.
very good
Yeah.
feedback.
Yeah.
One thing you said that the three things. Am I giving enough time to bhakti? Enough time to thought about it and enough effort for bhakti.
Yes. Enough thought, enough time, enough effort.
So that we think for ourselves that am I giving this? Am I doing this?
Right.
And every day?
Yeah. Yes, Mataji. This is an everyday business. Bhakti is actually our occupation and everyday thing.
Yeah,
yes.
Just checking ourselves, right? Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hari. We are reviving our eternal occupation, basically. Bhakti is that. Okay. All right. So thank you all so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam